Hey Axis and Allies players, the good captain here. Welcome to, let's see, this is the top of round 10 in this game of Axis and Allies 1914 against a human opponent, out of box, no bid. Okay, let's review Italy and USA's turn, because I really like parts of these turns. So the Italians buy 6 infantry. I think that's the right move, or right purchase, I should say. Alright, here we go. I've seen this before. Um, and why not? Yeah, I think this is right. And what's going to happen with that Italian transport that just had an infantry loaded up on it is he's going to force the Bosporus and the Dardanelles. He's going to float it under the guns of the Turkish mines and or however you want, however you extrapolate the mine rules, but he's going to float it through the minefield and invade Bulgaria successfully. Sorry to give it away, but all right. Then he does this push. Well, okay. He ends up leaving a blocker in Trieste. Also, the right move, especially with what he does on the USA turn. Okay, here we go. So here comes and the mines roll and just miss. So he unloads in Bulgaria and picks up 3. Now this, I'm not too, okay, in terms of like, did he steal a march on me? Yeah, you could argue he did, but this is going to be displaced rather easily. The worst thing that happens, I think, is that I might lose a piece doing it. I might, without really being able to explain too much about it, I don't think we're going to need all of our land assets in Constantinople next turn. I think we can get away with displacing a blocker clearing team and then bringing it back the following turn. So in effect, he may trade an infantry piece with me, and he came up 3 IPCs for Italy, which is really good because the whole strategy now, as the CP, at least as I feel now about this, is the wins I've gotten as CP came with KRF, or kill Russia first, and then KIS, or kill Italy second. So we KRF Russia, and then we kiss Italy. And of course you have to have France under control. You have to have at least if you have parity in numbers on the battlefield, you at least need to be on the west side of the Ruhr. Otherwise, we're looking for something more substantial than what I just said on the West Front with Germany and France. But this was a good, I mean, Italy, this is a strong Italy, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19 IPCs on round 9. Hell yeah. Like, good job. Oh, it's going to be 20. That's right, because he pushes the 2 pieces into the Syrian desert. And I already went over the stats on this bit in the previous video, and unfortunately he took Syrian debt. He not only picked up the kill, but the Ottomans failed to hit in the return fire, so he was not deterred and the dice went his way. So that plan fumbled, and it's very unlikely we are going to get a recapture on this. So that's another Italian IPC, which is the worst. If I could pick any other, I would rather have any other power, any of these territories. I just don't. All this to say, I'd rather not have them see any territory turn orange. There's way too much orange, and that's a priority going forward. We need to remove as much orange as we can now, and bring their economy down of Italy. Okay, so places, yada yada yada. Okay, the other thing about this Italian boat being here. He has to get it out if he wants to do it again. So there's actually a 32% chance of him overall losing the mine, or losing that transport to the mine. He could alternatively leave it here and leave it as essentially a land bridge for future units, namely the British. So the British can essentially walk on water and come across to Bulgaria in 2 turns. It's basically a permanent fixture. It could exist as a permanent fixture. Anyway, the Americans Another transport. Sorry, that's my initial reaction. I just noticed this. I didn't actually look at this turn yet. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, I'm a proponent of 8. And this guy's he's got 13. I mean, he's certainly using them though, I think. It feels like he is. Alright, so no, he does some edits. Okay, so he loads up the, so let's see what he did actually. He moves him here. Yeah, all this jockeying of junk. Yeah, and he's got a very thin next wave coming, just 2 infantry and an artillery. Again, so much of the money being wrapped up in transports, this is not surprising. Okay, so what happened here? Okay, he unloads everything, all the fresh troops into Albania, which is going to be the target. The setup, we're going to set up to eliminate that for hopefully forevermore in the next turn. Okay, so more things are happening, more confusing stuff is happening. How does it end up here? Oh, okay, so he stuffs... Really? What is that move? So at the top of the turn, he's got 3-1, and at the end of the turn, he's got 5-3? Let's see, UK goes, so it goes. Okay. Okay. I think I feel pretty good about that. I kind of like him in there. You know, this is my little. I look at this as my little ANZI. I don't know how anybody World War II history, but I think that was jokingly called the Germans' largest prison camp. The failed, essentially strategic failure of the Allied invasion of Anzio. But anyway, World War II. I want to make an Anzio here. Let's just keep them contained there. Okay, so we move into the Austro-Hungarian turn, and this is a doozy. I spent a silly amount of time prepping this turn, or 2 turns, because Russia's knocked out. I'm going to go ahead and skip the Russian turn and do Germany's in this as well. I should have mentioned that at the top of the video. This is a double header. I'll put it in the title. Okay, so we're going to start push. Austria-Hungary now exists to basically kill Italy and help the Ottomans / buy as much time on the East Front over here as possible. That's their job. At least that's how I feel about it right now. Refer to my template. Yeah, 12-1. And we want more bodies because we're anticipating we're anticipating stacking them, if you know what I mean. So we need replacements. So I do like this amount of tanks. We need a healthy amount of tanks to just keep the thing pushing forward, pushing forward, pushing forward. So I think 1 a turn might be smart. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is just always do the most obvious things first. To me, is logistics. I've already gamed this out, so I already know. This is just a logistics move. I have to have an infantry in Galicia. I'm not pulling Romania, and I want my fighters in Galicia. Utilize that 2 movement. Next, we move these assets out of Moscow into Ukraine. Brings them closer to the relevant fronts. So that's no nonsense. And we're done over here in the east. Now, in the west, this is a little more complicated. So I'm going to refer to my palette, 421. So what I'm stacking up back here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, that is not only a force that is a good enough deterrent to keep the French and the Americans from attacking and taking Serbia, but it's also what is going to be essentially a garrison force. I kind of half expect all these Allied assets to just depart the territory, or they might double down and bring in you know, bring in more Americans. I mean, they certainly have the transports to relocate all this stuff here, and we're kind of prepared for that, or will be prepared for that too. A little pause, and I gotta study one thing I just saw or see. Nah, we're not gonna do that. I'm not gonna even cover what that was. So, really uninteresting. All right, so now it's just now it is essentially some basic movements. Let's refer to the palette. I think I might actually displace a second armor here into Trieste. So, yeah, let's get the armor sorted. I want 4 in Tyrolia and 2 in Trieste. Okay. Sorry about this. Maybe this is something I should do off screen, but it is very particular. 17 and 8. Whoops. All right, I'll do it off screen. I'm gonna just move the rest of my assets and then we'll review. Be right back. All right, I've realized it's just not worth discussing anything until the German turn, because this setup here is obviously a split where the intent is to not allow any more attacks into you know, these territories, the relevant territories, Trieste, Tyrolia, Serbia even, and then to pinch Venice on the following turn. At least that'd be the ideal. It's not impossible. He could push from Venice into Trieste and, you know, gum up the works a little, but it would be at a disadvantage. Blah blah blah. I've done a lot of predictive analysis already, so I'll spare you the details. Done. Yeah, this is done. Okay, we smash this guy. It doesn't matter if we get hit or not. And then I'm just gonna start being diligent about this. This is how you in AAA at least, you can activate hits on the armor, and then you don't have to, your defender, the attacker doesn't have to mess around with at the edit mode at the end of the, on his turn, you know, because tanks don't absorb 2 hits on defense. So that's that. Done out. Drop it in. We're done. Okay, I'm going to see you in the German turn. This concludes the Austro-Hungarian turn. I'm going to do some logistics stuff and posting and all that junk, so BRB. Okay, I'm back and we're posted, so I'm actually going to skip the Russian turn. All that's left are 2 cruisers, which, I mean, I'll give him, I'll give him freedom of movement. I'm just going to skip it though, because his turns are so long. Russian non-combat. In other words, I'll let him retroactively take his turn after I do Germany, so up to and including rolling dice and all that junk, which is possible. So now the Russians are done. We can move into Germany. Okay, Germany. Germany is also anticipating heavy action, and I'm actually not going to buy armor. It's more of a from experience. The French are really strong, and I'm afraid if I buy too much armor, I'm going to end up running out of infantry and then having to bleed off my armor units to try to save some kind of defensive asset for the counterattack. This is something I've learned in, you know, other games. So just max out infantry. Done. Okay, now this is an extraordinarily critical turn. There really only is one right move based on what the French can do. And I could be wrong, but you can probably tell by the way I'm talking, I feel very confident that the only play to make as Germany is to stack Munich super hard. I don't know how the best way to demonstrate this is, but I'll just maybe speak from the French point of view. The best thing the French can do, the absolute best thing they can do, and you can almost, this is almost, I think, most convincing by just looking at the map and seeing this, and understanding the importance of Switzerland, especially in the context of this game and this turn and this power. For France, the best thing they could do is push all three. This whole supply chain can rally up in Switzerland, and then they can push the Paris units into Burgundy, so they have an immediate counterattack option, right? So if I move in, not only will they have what they have in Switzerland, but there's a supply train behind it that's 2 armor, 9 infantry, and arty that can go into immediate action. So I will predict that the French are moving into Switzerland. Full stop. That's where they're going. The only way to maintain momentum with the Austro-Hungarians is to put the Germans in Munich and put them in a position where they can freeze the French in Switzerland so that the Austro-Hungarians can push into Italy. So I don't have a choice here insofar as defending the Ruhr and dealing with the Brits up here. It's a totally second and third place issues. So let's just, oh, I have to do one thing that looks, it's kind of gamey, but this is, again, something learned through experience. Leaving an infantry in Tyrolia, and that just means that it's very complicated to explain, but it essentially allows your fighter aircraft to be able to attack Venice. That's the only reason he's here. So that leaves me an attack option, right? So if the French Air Force moves into Venice, I'm getting ahead of my skis here. Okay, let me just explain this. One of the things I think the French player can and should do, but I don't expect he will do because it's kind of a next level thing, is just what I've done here with the Germans, putting a single unit over here. That means this allows me freedom of movement even in contested zones. I have to have a unit of my power in a zone, even though it's friendly controlled. Like the Austro-Hungarians are my friends. If I'm in a contested territory, I can actually leave that contested territory and pull into the Allied territory, but I have to have a unit there. So this is true for the Entente as well. The French should push this piece in Switzerland into Venice, so that when I'm again getting ahead of myself, assuming he pushes into Switzerland and then I will set up to attack him with the Germans and hopefully, you know, in air quotes, freeze him there. The French could just slip through as long as they have a single unit in Venice. Now, why not? Then why am I not attacking him to take him out? I don't. There's two reasons. One, I don't really have the assets to spare, and two, I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to see this thing. It's a pretty next level comprehension of 1914, and it seems kind of cheesy, but we all do this over the board. I'm going to bank on the guy not seeing it, right? Like, I'm not going to tip my hand. That's what I hear in these YouTube videos. I'm not going to tip my hand. Okay, well, you know, that's not really what's going on. You're not really not tipping your hand. You're just playing off the player's ignorance of what the other guy can do. But anyway, I move onward. So again, some basic stuff here. I'm going to put a fighter over Kiel because that does have to be dispatched. We have to get rid of that. And then that's it. So 45, 13, 16, and 4. Yep, that's right. And then over here, I think it's 3, 3, 1, and a fighter. I'll have to pause and check my... No, I put in 6 in the practice round, but I'm actually only put 5. This puts me at 94% probability, but even a contested zone reactivates the minefield in favor of whoever's, you know, the original controller was. So I got to leave one infantry back there in Germany, and that's to slip 2 more artilleries off the east front into Berlin. And then we move back to Karelia because he, you know, he's got four bad guys here in London, so now he can slip up here and cause some damage. I think we're good. Let's go ahead and do the obligatory scanning. These naval assets I still don't quite, I'm not ready to pull my trigger with these guys, and it looks like we're done. So Munich is a stomp. The question mark is Kiel. That's over 90%, almost 95%. Yeah, so I think we're as good as we can be. So let's see what happens. This is a stomp. Womp womp. It doesn't matter the hits because we have more tanks than they do pieces. The keel question mark. Okay, we got him and good. We had one armor. I was worried if we would actually inflict a hit and he did not. So the last thing we'll do is change unit hit damage for these armors here and here. And that's it. So, you know, just taking stock here, we have removed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces from the Entente at 0 cost to ourselves. That's 22 IPCs worth of stuff. But the problem is that whoops. I'm about to show you the difference in wow. Yeah, we collect 42. Okay, this is as good as it's a snapshot as the CP is going to get, and you can see killing off 21 IPCs more than in a turn without cost to ourselves at all. Not to account, I'm not even considering all the other rounds and all the other turns in that round, but you can see that the allies are still going to be outproducing the losses we inflict on them. So we've got to fix this. We've got to get after this, and we're going to do. We've got a plan. We're going to do the best we can. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Okay, this video's gone on long enough, although it did cover 2 turns. I think we covered everything. Actually, not too bad for how long it is. So I expect the British to take the Ruhr. I don't expect the French to. If he does, that's great, because I did do the Munich to Switzerland battle. If he moves in the way I think he will, is a 0 TUV. It's exactly equal. I can shrug off 4 hits. I don't expect him to leave his air there. If he does, that would be great. If he pushed his air in, I'm certainly going to win that battle. 13 to 8 is almost no contest. So, given that on the assumption that he doesn't move any air in there, it's a 0 TUV, so we move in to block his movement into Italy, and then the Austro-Hungarians go in there and beat Italy down. Next, start moving. Venice, Tuscany, Rome. Ideally, we do not stop. I should see the Americans start to displace troops into Italy, relieving some pressure from Constantinople. Again, I'm not quite sure what these pieces are doing here, but perhaps that's a good move. It's certainly new. And yeah, I also expect the Albania and Bulgaria to be cleaned up. We'll fall back around Constantinople and start trying to survive it for as long as we can, but it will fall eventually, and that's okay. The main thing is where we're at when it does fall. Okay, thanks for watching this. All the best from the good captain, and bye-bye.